What's up guys, Sylvaire here. I know how much you love tier lists, so today got something special for you. We're going to be doing an extra spicy tier list just for World Combat. Never been done before. I think you guys are going to really enjoy this. What we're going to be exactly tiering out here is... Huh? He already did a lewd tier list? They didn't like it. Oh, well... I guess we'll just do a Fujin moves tier list instead, guys. I got that on backup, don't you worry. Alright, so, as you guys can see, I've got all 12 variation moves for Fujin listed here. We're going to go one by one through each move, try to list some pros and cons for each one, and I'm going to try to fit them inside this tier list here. I'll try to go through my reasoning as we move through each move here. Alright, first we have Airsenal. I'm going to go through a few reasons why I think this is probably one of his best variation moves you could equip. What does Airsenal do, you might ask? Well, it allows him to use Tornado and Wind Kicks in the air. Without it, he loses a lot of utility and a lot of combo opportunities. For example, being able to confirm Jump Kick into Wind Kicks directly, that'll catch a lot of break attempts. Some people like to break away immediately. Wind Kicks being his armor breaker will catch people immediately. Also, being able to do Tornado in the air lets him access one of his most damaging meterless combos off of his down 2 KB. About 40%, I believe. Yep, 40%, no meter, all you need is the down 2 KB. Also, it has a lot of synergy with some of his other moves. For example, Skywalker. It allows him to cancel out of Skywalker without having to spend the defense meter. Normally, you have to spend defense meter to cancel out of Skywalker, but with Airsenal, you can cancel directly into Tornado. Being able to cancel Skywalker with the Tornado directly gives him access to some of his most damaging combos. For example, that's not even completely optimal. You can actually do a 1-2, but I just prefer to do the down 1. I feel like it's more consistent for me. And that's 33%, 1 bar, which is pretty good damage for Fujin. Normally this guy's hitting for about 30%, so getting anything over 30% is really good for Fujin. Having the ability to do those special moves in the air is a huge utility for him. It's great for combos, great for being able to just throw out air wind kicks. I cannot tell you how many times I will do like a jump back wind kicks. It'll catch people either advancing or jumping in all the time. Really good for going over low projectiles. For example, if this Robocop were to shoot a low gunshot, you know, jump up, wind kicks. If you don't hit him, you'll at least be closing some distance. Good option, especially if you don't have Skywalker on to make some distance. But when it's paired with Skywalker, its true potential shines. And that's why I'm going to put Airsenal in the S tier meta defining. You're going to have a hard time finding anyone who's competing in tournaments not using Airsenal. Another move a lot of tournament players are not going to skip out on is Skywalker. I'm going to go ahead and put that in S tier as well. If you don't already know why it's an S tier, I'll go ahead and show you why right now. Skywalker, as I mentioned earlier, you can cancel it. So you're going to have to spend a defense meter, but you can cancel it almost immediately. You know, you can cancel it in front, behind, wherever you want. Really good for mixing up the opponent, especially if they're going to try to jump and punish you in the air for it. You can also just let it rock, you know, run full screen. Some characters are going to have a hard time chasing you down. You can also use it for pressure, so let's say you're applying some pressure at the mid, you can cancel it into another one, cancel another one. Oh, maybe this time you throw. Really good for keeping people on their toes, especially if they're not ready to punish you for doing it. A lot of people aren't super confident punishing Skywalker. There are certain strings you do where people can get a jump attack or they'll try to down poke you. And that's when the dive kick comes in. If you catch them trying to punish you, you can get the dive kick, which leads to a very good KB. These are some really nice combos. That's not even optimal, but that's like a third of their health. This move has just about everything, like I said, and it even is a good combo tool. For example, normally with back 2, the most you get is like wind kicks. Back 2, being one of Fujin's strongest moves, is only enhanced with Skywalker, as it allows you to get a full combo. Just like that, off of a back 2, he gets almost 30% damage. So just to wrap up Skywalker real quick, it has pressure, it has good keep away, he can run over a lot of projectiles with it, so good counter zoning, good for combos, does almost everything you'd ever want from it. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and put it in S tier. Alright, now the third S tier Fujin move. I think we all knew this was coming. Wind Push. Funny story about Wind Push. When Fujin first came out, I remember looking at this move thinking, wow, it's a projectile that replaces your crossbow and it does 0 damage. That's pretty trash. Boy, was I wrong. This move is probably one of his best moves, and you're not going to find a lot of people playing him seriously with not using it. Reason being, it just has amazing space control. There's 3 different versions. That's the far. He's got a medium and a close. Now, If you hit them sequentially, so I'll show you real quick, you hit the close one, the medium one, and then you end with the far one, you get a crushing blow. You don't have to do it in that order as long as you don't repeat the same wind push 2 times in a row. Very decent damage, especially if you find a way to combo into it. You don't have to hit them back to back, you only have to build up the sequence. So you could do the close one, you know, go in, hit them a couple times, hit the medium one, and then end with the far one, and you'll still get the crushing blow. As long as you just don't repeat the wind push twice in a row, you're good. Another thing, it's really good for keeping Fujin safe. He can turn almost any string completely safe if he just ends it with wind push. A lot of characters can't even punish that. Unless they have like a fast reversal special, they can get in on him for doing that without spending the meter, but he can always just spend the meter. And a lot of characters can't even punish that. So if you're willing to spend the meter, you can basically keep yourself safe at any time, and there's not a lot people can do about it. Furthermore, it's really good for just annoying people and timing them out. If you get someone like full screen and you're just wind pushing them until the timer runs out, they're going to get pressured into jumping. That's when you can go in with a full screen amp Skywalker for an anti-air. Or standing 4 is one of his best anti-airs. They try to jump in at you. You just get the anti-air and a full combo. And that's how you really want to use this move full screen, is just annoy people until they start wanting to jump on you, and then you get those sweet anti-airs. So again, that's why I believe wind push, S tier move. This is probably the trio of his best moves right up here. Spoiler alert. You're going to find a lot of people at a high level using these 3 moves specifically to great success. Another viable move, which a lot of people will use at a high level, is Warp Needle. We'll go ahead and go over Warp Needle next. I think in a lot of ways it fills a similar role to wind push, but I think it falls short in a few, and I'll show you why. So with Needle, it replaces your wind kick, so you lose your arm breaker, which does kind of suck. But you get this nice move here. If you use it with standing 4-2, it does end in a restand, so they don't have wake up options, which is pretty nice. You can amp it, it does pretty decent damage. Comparable to wind kicks, just not as much, and look how far it leaves them. So if you're playing like kind of a spacing game, that leaves them like a perfect distance to hit them with a back 2. One great thing about the Needle is that it does excellent block damage. I mean, look at that chip damage. Especially if you amp it, he takes a lot of chip damage. So if you're pressuring somebody, you just keep hitting them with this. This is going to cause them to take a lot of chip damage. They're really going to have to start thinking about how they're going to challenge this. The problem is, one way that they can challenge it is they can actually flawless block the amplified follow-up. Or if they call it that you're not going to amplify it, a lot of characters can punish you because the move is -16, I believe. If they call it you're going to amp it and they get that flawless block, you're going to be in for a world of hurt because they can return with a flawless block attack, the up 2, and then you can get a full combo. So as far as safety goes, it does fill a similar role to wind push in the way that you can keep yourself safe using it. The problem is a lot of people have labbed the flawless block gap off of the amp. So especially if you're playing at a higher level, you are going to get flawless blocked a lot for doing that. Whereas that's not the case with wind push. There is a gap on wind push, but they have to catch you off certain strings. Like, I don't believe you can flawless block the gap between the wind push and the amp. They just have to hold that. Whereas here, if they think you're going to amp the move, they can flawless block you and you will get punished for it. Also, you don't have as much of a full screen presence. Like, Warp Needle only reaches so far, whereas wind push, you have a presence across the whole screen. Also, I just realized you also have access to the crushing blow off wind push, which you don't really have a crushing blow off here. Granted, the move itself does do more damage than wind push, so you are doing more damage probably in the long run, but having that crushing blow built up is nice for a big chunk of damage. So for all those reasons, I believe I would put Warp Needle as a strong pick. I don't think it's as good as wind push. There are certain matchups where Warp Needle is better. For example, Cabal. A lot of Fujin players like to use Warp Needle against Cabal. I believe Kung Lao as well is a good one. There's a few other characters. But I think wind push, you just have a full screen presence. You can annoy people. You can time them out. You can keep yourself safe like with Warp Needle. Also, it's a lot harder for a lot of characters to punish wind push, whereas with Warp Needle, there's a good chance you're going to get flawless blocked and punished if you're too predictable with it. Alright, onto the fun moves. First up, we have Air Slam. Alright, Air Slam is a really fun move. You have access to this right here. You do lose Tornado, which is not the best thing because Tornado leads to a lot of mirrorless combo damage for Fujin, especially mid-screen. But you do get access to this, which is a nice anti-air. Your combo starters with Air Slam are going to be 4-2, of course standing 4, and a jump kick. Those are going to be your main combo starters. Unfortunately, unlike Tornado, you cannot combo off 1-2. Although he does leave the ground, I guess he just doesn't leave the ground high enough for the air slam to catch, or he's not actually considered off the ground. One of those weird things. That being said, air slam does lead to some pretty nice combo damage. Here I'll just show off a basic air slam combo. Pretty standard, a little over 30%. If you notice though, I had to spend a bar for that, which if you have the tornado meterlessly, Fujin's hitting about 25 to 27% meterless. So you're spending the bar for an extra 3% of damage. You gotta really see if that adds up in the long run. One thing that this has an advantage to Tornado is that you can set up a crushing blow combo, this slide crushing blow, which is pretty rare to get unless you're using air slam because you have to whiff the first part of it, but that is some pretty nice damage. That is something to keep in mind. Normally if I'm running Tornado, I'm not hitting that KB much, but if I have air slam, pretty easy to set up. Where air slam is really going to shine is going to be in the corner. In the corner, you can actually get double air slam combos, quadruple even, I think I've seen. But for the most part, you're going to be going for the double air slam. You can get one meterless air slam in a combo, and I'll show that off real quick. I'm just going to show off a basic combo. I'll try not to use my other variation moves for this. So something like that. See? You get one free air slam, and then you can amp the next one for that was about 37%. Not too bad. So those are some of the combos you can get with air slam. But like I was saying, it's actually a pretty good anti-air. You see someone jumping in at you, you can go ahead and anti-air them. You do have to aim the air slam. It's not automatic, so I should have mentioned this, but there's a close, medium, far, and very far. So you gotta kind of make the call as to where they're standing when you do it. But I mean, once you get used to it, it's pretty easy to call it out and put the input in. It's not too difficult. It even has like kind of a wider hitbox, so that was the far one, whereas you think you would want to do the very far one. But it still hits. There's like two parts to it. There's the up and the down, and if either of them hit, you can actually amp it. So it's very good anti-air. Probably really good for keeping characters like Jackie and Cabal under control. Even another Fujin who's using Wakka. Any character that's going to be taking up space in the top of the screen, you're going to be able to answer them pretty reliably with the air slam. So it has uses in those matchups. The problem that I have with air slam, as much as I love the move, again, you lose Tornado, which is one of his best moves. It has really good synergy with his S tier variation moves, which would be Airsenal. You don't have the Tornado, so you can't use Tornado in the air. And you can't even put on Airsenal if you have air slam on top of that. This also means you can't run Wakka with Airsenal and Tornado, so you're losing out on that as well. For all these reasons, I'm going to put air slam as a decent pick. It's not a bad move, don't get me wrong. I actually love this move a lot. It's really fun. It's just losing Tornado, losing combo rounds, losing meterless damage mid-screen really hurts Fujin. And I think Tornado is a better launcher most of the time. So for that reason, I'm going to put air slam in decent picks. Most of the time, you need to build your whole variation around air slam. You can't just slap air slam in with Wakka. I mean, you can, but you're going to have better effect using some of the other moves, which we're going to talk about on this list. Speaking of which, a great move to pair with air slam is Divine Wind, especially for the corner, and I'll show that off right now. So Divine Wind, you use it and it puts him in this hover stance. Just think of it as an extended short hop because he gets his short hop moves out of that stance. So for example, he gets that, and I'll show that real quick. That, and that. So he gets his access to his short hop moves in the hover. He also gets access to this crushing blow, which is new. He doesn't have this normally. You have to hover for a few seconds, and if you hit him with the overhead, you get access to that, which is really nice. It leads to some nice combos. I'll go over the combos in a minute, but before we get to that, a lot of people who use this like to use it as a pressure tool similar to Wakka. So a lot of people use it for pressure or for safety. These are just some examples of what people will do. A lot of this stuff isn't super real, so just be aware of that. It's not as real as Wakka. You can get punished, for example, if you do something like this. So your best bet is to try to do it off this, but people can call that out, and some characters can punish you for doing that, especially up close. Now for the fun part. With Air Slam, you can land some pretty nasty combos with this, especially in the corner. I'll show one off right now. Get the double Air Slam. Boom. I landed with that. That's not even super optimal, but it's 40%. Pretty simple combo, honestly. And that's way more than Fujin is normally hitting for. That's for using it in the middle of the combo as well. If you start the combo with the crushing blow, you actually get more damage, and I'll show an example. That's... boom. And that's over 40%. Again, spending 1 bar and a crushing blow. Really good for Fujin. To just summarize real quick, you can use Divine Wind as a similar tool to Skywalker with safety. Just be careful. Some people will punish you for doing it. You're mostly going to get away with doing it against people who just don't know about it. And the main thing you're going to be using this for outside of the safety and canceling the end of strings is going to be for the combo damage, which is really nice, especially in the corner, especially if you're using it with Air Slam. All that being said, I'm going to go ahead and put Divine Wind right next to Air Slam. I believe they're equally decent picks, especially when you use them together. Very strong synergy between these two moves. And you're just going to be hitting for some really good damage, especially in the corner. Now, next move here, we got Pressure Bomb. Obviously, S tier. Best move in the game, guys. Best move. But if there was a double S tier, I'd put it up here. It doesn't get any better than that. Video over. No, I'm just kidding, guys. Pressure Bomb. I am a little bit biased. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show off some stuff with Pressure Bomb. If you've been around the channel for a little bit, you know how much I love this move. Let me go over it real quick. Alright, so Pressure Bomb. There's 3 different versions you can do, or 3 different distances rather. There's close, medium, and to do the far one, you do have the spend meter. Now, as you can see, the pop-up on the amp version is quite high. Let me show you the normal one just for comparison. Not quite as high. You can get combos off that though. And let's just show an example combo. This is one that I like to do a lot, so I'll shut that out. Get something like this. This is just meterless, or not meterless, but you're only spending 1 bar. You can spend more bar for even more damage. 28% for 1 bar, not bad. There is a trick to this move though. Let me show it off really quick. So, if someone's throwing out Pressure Bomb on you, and you hit them, the bomb goes away. Same thing with amp. Goes away. I'll block. It goes away. If I amp it, it does not go away, and you see I got a punish for that. So one way you can use Pressure Bomb is as an anti-poke tool. So one thing I like to do with Pressure Bomb is I like to end a combo in a way where I can put out the bomb, and if they try to counter-poke me, they're going to get blown up for it. So let me show off an example. So here we have Robocop in the corner. I'm going to do just a very simple combo into a setup, and you guys will see what I mean. So you see there, he tries to counter-poke me on his wake-up, and he gets blown up for it, and I could get a full combo off that. Same thing if you try to do like an up 3 or an up 2, he's going to get blown up by the Pressure Bomb, and it's going to give me a full combo. You might be asking, well, there has to be some other downsides to this move. What else, you know, why don't more people use it? Let me let you in on a little secret, okay? Look at this, look at the startup of this move. That's 100 frames. It's almost 2 seconds. Amped, it's a little faster at 73 frames. The startup on this move is so slow that you should realistically be able to react to this every time. If I'm using this move and I'm getting value from it, most of the time, especially on block, I'm getting away with some fraudulent stuff. There's no situation on block where I set that up that it's completely safe for me to do so. The only safe way to set that up is on wake up or off this string here, standing 4-2. That actually is completely safe. They can't punish you for doing that. They have to either hold block or try to move out of the way. And that gives you a little bit of a mind game there. You can either press the advantage or let them try to press on you, and they're going to get blown up for it. So besides standing 4-2 on hit, most of the time you're putting your life on the line when you use Pressure Bomb. And since we were just talking about the synergy between Air Slam and Divine Wind, let me just show you how this move synergizes with Air Slam, especially in the corner. So I'm going to show just a basic combo using Air Slam and Pressure Bomb. Up and away, Pressure Bomb, another one. So bam, that's like 4 Air Slams in one combo for 37% for 1 bar. Really decent damage. Has really good synergy with Air Slam. So I like to run a variation which is Air Slam, Divine Wind, Pressure Bomb as an alternative to my main variation, which is usually Skywalker, Airsenal, Pressure Bomb. The Skywalker one being the more try-hard version, the one with the Air Slam being a little bit more fun, more swaggy. So Pressure Bomb fits well into both those variations, but just know if you use it, you're putting your life on line almost every time you're putting this out. For all these reasons, I'm going to go ahead and put Pressure Bomb in decent picks. You might be surprised, you may think that it should go lower. The thing is, Pressure Bomb works amazing against people who don't know anything about it, and it works disastrously against people who know everything about it. Against competent players, it's really hard to get value from this move. Against people who just don't know about the move, that have never seen it, or don't know how to properly fight it, you're going to get constant value from this move. So I'm going to meet somewhere in the middle. I'm going to put it in decent picks. It's a decent pick. You just have to pick and choose your moments for it, especially if they start catching on. Alright, next up we have Deadly Winds. Kind of an interesting move. Kind of hard to get super good value. Let me explain. So what exactly does Deadly Winds give you? Basically, it modifies his forward 2 and back 2 strings. So both these moves that have this move where he has the opponent spin around him, which are forward 2 and back 2, he can now amp those moves for an additional follow-up, which is right here, for a bar of offense meter. It turns basically a like 12 or 13% damage move into a 17 or 18% damage move, so you get about a 4 or 5% increase for a bar, which, you know, you have to gauge if that's really worth the meter for you. On top of that, it does have a KB, which let me show that off real quick. The way the KB activates is you can catch them on a forward or back roll punish, or if you catch them backstepping. So let me go ahead and show that. And boom, as you can see, I mean, just with the jump kick into the KB, he's lost almost half of his health, which is nothing to scoff at. The damage over time is insane on this move. The KB is really nice. It's just, once you've used it, you're left with the base move, which, again, you're spending a bar for an extra 4%, 5%, which could be better used elsewhere. I personally don't see the value in it. I think it's a cool move, especially if you're fishing for combos. The brutality on this move is so sick, one of the best in the game. And the KB is really nice. I just don't know if I can justify picking this move over other moves or spending the bar on this when you could be using it on something else utility-wise or even getting more damage. For these reasons, I'm going to put Deadly Winds into niche uses. It's not a terrible move. You can get value out of it. The KB is really good. It's just once you've used the KB, I feel like it's hard to find value out of this move. Next, we have Wind Barrier. Very interesting move. I doubt many of you who don't play Fujin have ever seen it. Let me show that real quick. Alright, so with the Wind Barrier, it's an air parry, which he gets two different versions of. First one is an air-to-air, so that'll be any like jump attack. So if he did a jump punch at me, I could parry it with this. Let me show that real quick. So there's the dive kick. You can also do the forward stored. So he has the same moves from Skywalker. All you have to do is land a parry. I say all you have to do is land a parry, but we'll get to that. And he also has a air-to-ground parry, so that'll parry any anti-air attempts. Let me go ahead and show that off real quick. Alright, and there's the dive kick off of the anti-air on the down 2. Really cool. It does have a KB attached. The only thing is you have to land 2 parries in a row to get it to activate. Let me just show you what that would look like real quick. And there's the KB right there. It's the same, if you'll notice, as the Skywalker dive kick KB, except this does do more damage. So if you're able to land the KB, you can actually get some really nice damage, and I'll show off a quick little combo right now. So, you know, not crazy damage off that combo. That's not super optimal, but when paired with the right moves like Air Slam and whatnot, you can actually get some really nice damage. So a variation I would recommend using with the parry would be probably the hover, Air Slam, and the parry. That might be a pretty decent combination. It would lead to some really nice damage. Again, the problem is you have to land the parry twice in a row. Once you land the first one, if the opponent knows about it, they are not going to let you get the second parry. Believe me, I have spent a lot of time trying to farm for that parry KB, and once they know what you're going for it's going to be really hard to land. So you are really going to have to look out for a specific type of opponent that likes to up 3 or up 2 a lot on wake up, and you can get the double parry. So I'm going to go ahead, I think I'm going to put Wind Barrier into hard to get value from. It's a decent parry. On its own, the parry into dive kick does about 15% damage. The KB obviously leads to some really nice damage, but getting that KB is really hard, especially because you have to choose between two different parries. So if they decide to do a jump attack and you do the down one, you're not going to get the parry, and then you have to land it twice in a row. It's just so hard to get value out of it. But when you do, it feels so good. You get so much damage. I just wish it was easier to land the KB. I would use it more if it was just like parry a wake up attack or something, like Liu Kang's parry, for example. Moving on, we have Jetstream. Jetstream is a very interesting move. It gives Fujin a buff. Thing is, it's banned in competitive play, so you can't use it in Combat League or tournaments, so you rarely see it. Alright, so you activate the buff here. It lasts for about 8 seconds, and it extends Fujin's moves by a little bit. These little, like, apparition, wind, fists, and kicks, they don't normally come out. So when you have the buff on it, it really extends the range of all of his, not all of them, but a handful of his normals. For example, 4-2 gets some extension, down 2 gets an extension, 1-2, down 3. Another helpful thing about this buff is it actually increases the damage on his back 2. So for example, back 2 normally does 30 damage. With the buff on, does 50. I don't know if you can see behind him, there's like a little palm that's pushing. So that's a cool little detail that does a little bit more damage. Also, a little nasty thing, if you have this paired up with Wind Push, makes Wind Push do damage. Kind of wild, I'm gonna be honest. That's 20 damage, doesn't seem like much, but if you hit someone with enough of these, it's gonna add up, especially if they're at low health and they're full screen. Not a position you want to be in. Also, this buff can lead to some pretty nice combos, especially in the corner. Let me try to show off one now. Alright, so yeah, it's a sick little combo you can land with the Jetstream. I can definitely see why they have it locked out of competitive play. Having extended normals like this would probably be really frustrating to play against. Especially, they probably saw the potential of pairing it with Wind Push here, so imagine this running rampant in Combat League, guys. We'd be probably hearing a lot more complaints about Fujin, honestly. All that being said, I think I want to put Jetstream in decent picks. Just barely out of niche uses because of the potential that this move has. Especially pairing it with Wind Push is just a nasty combination, and I feel like because this move was banned, there's a lot of room that could be explored. I feel like there's some secrets with this move that just need to be uncovered. This could be a very scary move in the right hands and with the right combination of variation moves on this list here. Alright, now we get to Turbulence. I've been messing around with Turbulence a little bit. I've actually been getting some decent value from it. Let me go over how that works really quick. Turbulence is another move you don't really see too often from Fujin. So I'm going to just go ahead and explain it real quick. He's got 3 different versions. He's got the close, he's got the medium, and he's got the far. Another thing you can do with Turbulence, which not a lot of people know about, is you shoot a crossbow through it, you hold down the button, and the bolt will just spin around inside the Turbulence. You can amp the crossbow, and 2 bolts will spin around. Let me show that real quick. And if the opponent walks into that or touches the Turbulence, they're going to get hit by a crossbow, and you can actually get some combos from it. The main use of Turbulence, though, is to lock people down in the air. So let me just show you what happens if Robocop tries to jump out of the Turbulence. As you can see, he is locked in. He is trying to jump forward, and he cannot jump out of the Turbulence. An opponent who tries to jump is going to find it very hard to escape. I don't even think with aerial moves they can escape out of this. There might be some exceptions, like Robocop's air charge with his shield may be able to get out of it. I'm actually not 100% sure. But I know for a fact Cabal's Slight Gas, he cannot escape, and it will catch Jackie leaping as well. So very good move for keeping people locked down. Pairs really well with Air Slam, because when they jump, you know where the Turbulence is, you know where they're going to get stuck. So you can get a nice anti-air. Also, another synergy that it has with Air Slam. You get quarter combos with it mid-screen. Look at this. Pretty nice stuff. That's the same combo we did earlier in the corner, the quad Air Slam, and we were able to do that mid-screen. Very nice synergy. 1 bar, 37%. You basically have access to that anywhere on the screen now. Really nice. Also leads to some setups. I'll show an example really quick here. Go ahead and do the combo. We're going to end it with the amp. This will give us enough time to set up Turbulence. And that gives us the combo starter. And something like that. Nice 38% damage off of a Turbulence setup, not bad. Problem is, to beat that, all you have to do is just block. If you do a wake up button, or if you jump, you're going to get hit and you're going to get comboed for it. So blocking does beat that setup. So my final thoughts on Turbulence, I think it's going to go in the niche uses. I think it probably has some decent use in certain matchups, like I was saying against Cabal and Jackie. But outside of that, it's kind of niche. You're going to want to use this probably with Air Slam. You're going to get the best value. You're going to be able to do corner combos mid-screen, which is really nice. And you get the crossbow setups. Hard to utilize, but you can get value out of them, as I've shown with that setup. All right, last move, we got Twister here. Twister is a very good move. Gives Fujin a lot of damage, and I'm going to show you some examples right now. All right, so what Twister does is it lets him amp his tornado. You can amp it up to 2 times, actually, and while you're amping, you can move around freely. Very basic. All this does lets Fujin do more damage. Let me just show you an example combo real quick. There we go. That's a nice little 37% for 1 bar. You can even control the side switch there a little bit. You can keep it going forward, or you can have side switch and get the corner. If, you know, for example, if we were in the corner there, I would have corner positioning now. Really good. I mean, honestly, I think this move is really solid. It allows Fujin to get some pretty decent damage for 1 bar, which is something that he's lacking. A lot of time Fujin's hitting for about 30%. With Twister, he can get about 40% anywhere on the screen, corner or mid-screen otherwise. So I think it's really solid. You can pair it with Wakka and Airsenal, works really well there. I think it works really nice with Airsenal and Divine Winds. This is his original downburst variation, by the way. In the corner, he gets some really nice damage. I'll try to show off a downburst combo real quick. Pretty decent. Nice little 2-bar combo. You could probably optimize that a little bit more, but like I said, I mean, it just allows him to access more damage, which is something that the character typically lacks. He's strong in a lot of ways, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, you know, buff Fujin or anything. Buff Pressure Bomb, though. Buff Pressure Bomb. But this gets him access some pretty high-tier damage, rivaling that of, like, someone like Shao Kahn or even Noob Saibot just having to spend a bar. So I think it's a really good move. I would even go so far as to say I think that this move is probably a strong pick. I would say you don't get the utility of Warp Needle or anything above it, but it's pretty reliable damage, and only 1 bar for 37% anywhere on the screen. That's pretty good. Now I'm going to go ahead and try to clean this up a little bit. I'll try to order it from best move to the last move all the way down the list, so just give me a second. Alright guys, so I've ordered the list a little bit. I think Wakka is probably Fujin's best move. You could make an argument that Wind Push is his best move. I don't think I would even disagree with you. It's hard. It's like a toss-up. Both moves are really good. I think Wakka just offers so much to the character. You get the pressure, the combos, the safety. It's all so good for him. Wind Barrier, I would say, is probably his weakest move. It's really hard to get value out of it. When you do land the KB, it's nice. It's just landing the KB is really hard. You really gotta have the right opponent who's gonna like cooperate to give you that KB. Anyway guys, if you liked the video, let me know in the comments. I don't know if you guys want to see more videos like this. I do play other characters, by the way. I don't play only Fujin, despite what you guys may think, despite what I may show. I do play other characters like Rain, Noob Saibot, a little bit of Shang. So if you guys want to see my opinions on some other moves, let me know in the comments below. If you guys disagree with any of the placements, let me know. And other than that, I'll see you guys around the next one.